Okay, being black in Arizona, cultural shock after leaving Detroit. That title right there has spewed so many different comments, so many different perceptions, and I have learned genuinely a lot from that video. One of the reasons that people see the thumbnail and the title and they instantly just click on the video and they just go to spamming and thinking the video is going to be some type of racial bigotry or something negative about the state of Arizona. Two, they click the video, listen, probably 2 minutes in before listen to the entire video and did not understand the context and immediately get to type in, and you can see that in the video asking you what part of Arizona you staying in, what part are you in, and where that's at. That's not happening here. Or three, you just come in with your own perception of views, see who I am as a person, listed a few things about Detroit and just went spamming the keyboard with your views. And that video was not all about that at all. And originally, the title of that video was not being black in Arizona, the culture shock. To be honest with you, like beforehand, before I changed the title, it was my Michigan journey and the things that I learned that I've been here for the past year or two. That was small challenges, small shortcomings, but it wasn't a big deal. You guys took something that was very so small, something at a surface level, and just blew it out of proportion with your racial views, your political views, and it wasn't even that deep. That's the funny part about it to me. Like, it wasn't even that deep, and you could tell like my mindset behind it. Because when I was responding on people comments, I was like, hey, I wasn't even thinking about that. Wasn't even sure why you even going that far left or that far right, to be honest. And I appreciate some of the people that did drop a comment. And then I questioned them about that to gain clarity what they was talking about. And we had a few dialogues back and forth, and they understand where I was coming from. Even one person, I forgot the username, been so many, but she responded in like a negative way, saying, hey, I called Arizona mountains ugly and so forth. And she realized, like, oh my God, I apologize. Thank you for responding to me in a civilized way. And I had the tab open. I was looking at something else and I was typing on your video without even noticing it. And I respect people that come in with some type of open mindset and they actually acknowledge there and take responsibility that, hey, they was wrong or they didn't expect the video to come out this way, and they just was open minded. I just appreciate that, because some people, if you look at the comments and just scrolling through, you be like, yo, what is you even talking about? So yeah, that is that right there. And also, I know I'm not alone, because you can see other people in the comments like, yo, listen to your video. You actually brought awareness that I'm actually native here and I'm having an issue. Someone just commented not too long ago, that's a Tucson native that is of color, not even of my color that I'm talking about. Like, there is actually Hispanic with biracial kids that probably have similar hair texture as me, and saying, hey, my nieces and my family members having a hard time with hair care because no one's not able to do it out here. It is what it is. This is just facts. This is just facts. Before you go out here talking about, oh yeah, Arizona is like I gave you guys facts about, it's 52% white and then, 32% Hispanic and all that, just doing a Google research. Like, to be honest, just to put out that Michigan is more white than Arizona. Let's just put that out there. Let's just be facts. You can Google that. Like, Michigan is about 72% white population. And then the rest of that is black with small, you know, Asian culture and Native American culture and all of that stuff, Pacific Islander. So let's just get that fact, because some of you guys talking about don't Michigan my Arizona is stupid. It's stupid. And I don't know if y'all just based it off like political views and based on how long Michigan been voting and so forth, because yeah, a lot of you guys assumed that I'm a Democrat. I didn't put that out that I was a Democrat. I didn't put that out there was I was a Republican or anything like that. So that was just weird. But now that we get into the video, we're going to talk about, like, there are some examples that I even learned about Tucson before I even got here. And that is from my friend named Kaz, because he actually came to Detroit And it's funny because I had a conversation with him about this about actually 2 months ago, and he actually from Tucson, Arizona, Catalina foothills to be honest. And he's not black, he's not white, he's not Indian, he's not Hispanic, and believe it or not, he is Asian. He's a Japanese descent, so he grew up in the Tucson environment, and he came to Detroit. And you guys like take things a little bit too serious when I said about culture, and culture is a lot to unpack. Culture is not just like I said, your food, is not your music you listen to, it's not the festivals. It's a lot to unpack there. It's like it's your shared views, your traditional values, and just the community that you be in, whether it's big or small. Like there is like a little, if it's just one shop, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal, but you guys just blew out of proportion. And that's something that I learned from Kaz, because when he came over, having that outside, just like me, having that outside view, he was like, man, coming from Arizona over here, I never been around just this population of people. And the first thing I did was like, seriously, we had some conversations, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let me just show you the culture and the environment, which I appreciate. I did not have that out here, but he had that when he came to Detroit. Like once he came to GM, we both worked for GM at the same time, and we both young individuals, young professionals. He was 25, I was like 26 or 27. We just getting started in our careers, and he was like, "Man, it's so green over here in Michigan. It's so colorful, and it's like I actually like that because you don't get this back in Arizona." I asked him like, "Really? What part of Arizona are you from?" He said Tucson. I was like, "Oh wow, okay." Usually I would hear Phoenix because that's like the popular city. No one don't talk about nothing else. No one don't talk about Flagstaff. They don't talk about Tucson. They don't talk about Tombstone or Sierra Vista. None of that. They just talk about the major city, which that's where a lot of people assume. But that is where you shouldn't assume, because the state is bigger than just the one city. That's like me saying, hey, everybody from Michigan is from Detroit. Everybody not from Detroit. Someone commented on my video like, oh, Devin Booker from Detroit. No, he's not from Detroit. He's from Grand Rapids. That's about 4 hours north of Detroit. So, yeah. But back to the conversation of that I was saying about Kaz, is that when I invited him over and we talked about GM, I was like, hey, you know what? Let's start with something that we both have in common, right? Let's start with the company GM. And I took him to Flint, so he actually seen the birthplace of GM, downtown of GM, where it all started. And I showed him like just based from that company perspective. And then after he showed the city, interacted with some foods, then because he was a foodie, he went back down to Detroit where we worked at. And then I showed him, okay, this is where GM moved to. This is the surrounding areas. This is the Polish community. This is the Southwest, the Mexican culture community. If you're looking for like some food like that, this is where a lot of coworkers mingle. This is where the big three has a large impact. This is the Detroit proving ground. This is where they test their cars at. This is the Ford. This is where the Ford area in Dearborn. Yes, Dearborn has a nice little Middle Eastern culture, but outside of that, this is where Ford decided to make its home. This is where their proving grounds at. Hey, you go to Auburn Hills. Auburn Hills, this is where Chrysler, Stellantis, this is where they at, and they have different areas. And he was actually thanked me from that, because me personally, I did not think nothing of it, but he was like, hey man, I actually thank you for taking your time to show me around the city, understand the way how the community is, because outside looking in, you will not know that at all. And that actually opened my eyes talking to him, because now I realize that, okay, the world is bigger than the state I am. And yes, I travel all around. I've been to Kentucky, I've been to Ohio, but it's a difference. It's a difference versus when you're visiting than when you're living in the actual community, in the actual state. I don't care what you say. You can have your views, and maybe some people in the last video never traveled. They never been in different environments to understand where I'm coming from. But I pretty much travel, and I understand like different cultures in different areas. And I'm just not looking for somebody to look like me, because based on my academia, I was always one of few. So race is not a big deal for me. I can overcome that. This is like minuscule things that you all are, that's was commenting, and not saying you are, but whoever viewed this video that was fighting over that didn't make sense. It was like way over my head, and probably way over your head too. So that is something I have learned just from him because he's a Tucson native. And I told him, hey, well, next time you come back, you show me around Tucson a little bit, just the same way I show you. And he's more than open to it anymore. When I left him and we was in Michigan, he left to go to Texas to work for Amazon. Then last time I spoke to him, now he's in Seattle working for Microsoft. So that is just something right there. But he also told me some things about Tucson though. Like, hey, Tucson is small. It's a little big city. He gave me some things like, hey, him being a young guy, like the dating scene was horrible in Tucson. So I got that, but I was like, hey, I got me a girlfriend at the time, which is now my wife. So I didn't have to really worry about that. But it's like funny because we had to talk about it because I feel like we traded places because we did not. It's funny how life do things because I never would have thought I would have came to Tucson after having a conversation with them, but here we are. And to wrap this video up, because I don't want to be talking long and all that stuff, but it's like, it's awfully funny how people like bringing up the race card, right? But if we went to war for against a common enemy, would race even matter? Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Asian, the last thing on your freaking mind, if we went to World War III right now, is whether you're black or white or whatever. You'd be wondering, hey, brother, are you going to be able to save my ass? Do you see that man over there that's 100 yards or whatever? Can you spot him and see him? The last thing you're going to think about is whether he's black or white. You're going to be worried about, can he peg that motherfucker from 100 yards or 50 yards or whatever to save your life so you can come back home to your family and appreciate the country that you was fighting for. So race is stupid, and if the military in our country can overcome it, which has been proven by series of events that I'm not going to name, one of them I could think of is like the Tuskegee Airmen that saved their own people, that was against people of color believing they can't fly. And if the government and the military can get over that, why can't we as silver people? So that's going to wrap this video up. I just had to clear the air because I know that video just totally just went above people's heads because I genuinely just made that video just to talk about my journey and just three things. That was one, that hey, there was a lack of hair salons or barbershops for people. If they are, they're far few in between. But you can see people in the video that talked about, hey, they have a problem with their own hair care. But that was it. And it wasn't even for me. It was more for like my wife and her hair. I cut my own hair, so it's not of a big deal for me. But for her, I mean, I think that's a pretty big deal. Two, it was the soul food restaurants. Even though Tucson, that's something my friend told me, that Tucson is a big gastronomy area where they big on like the food and so forth here. That was just one lack that they had. They didn't have any soul food restaurants. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but I mean, that's an opportunity for somebody who come here. But oh, you know what? I'm glad he shared that. I'll relocate and open up a restaurant if they're in the culinary arts division. And then three, I was saying church or anything of that realm, like a spirit, not looking for like a black church, if anything, but like it depends on whatever your religion, what it may be. So that's going to wrap this video up. If you guys enjoyed this video, y'all know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I appreciate you guys for subscribing because I was not expecting that video to take off like it did, but I guess it did. So here we are. We're breaking the ice now. That's the whole point of the channel. So like that, I see you guys in the next one. Peace.